This week is gonna be a little bit of a challenge in the sense that if you do not have, and let me grab one, a DSLR camera or a mirrorless camera or a camera that looks like this, where you get to physically change the shutter speed, right? So let me do that on this one right now, which does not have a battery in it. And let's put a battery in it. So right now, if I was to change the shutter speed on this, and right now I'm gonna put the top to an M, which means manual, which means I get to change all the settings. I am going to change the shutter speed, and I can see it here as I turn it, to, and actually I will talk about this right now while I have it here. So it says 1/5. That means it's gonna be for 1/5 of a second. All right, we're talking fractions now. If it goes 1/60th, it's 1/60th of a second. If I really turn it, I can get to 1/1600th of a second, which would be like a super minute period in time, where for the jump challenge, I would freeze somebody in time. But I'm gonna go the opposite way. So last week was jump challenge. We were increasing shutter speed to freeze something in time. This week we're gonna do the extreme opposite. We're gonna move it and it'll do a 5 with almost like speaking quotations after, which represents seconds. So this will be for 5 seconds. If I was to spin it completely, you might get to the word bulb. B-U-L-B, bulb mode. Bulb mode means when I push this shutter down, it is going to stay open until I push it again to close it. Meaning just leave that shutter open and take in as much light for as long as the camera will allow, or I tell it to turn off. That's what bulb mode. So if you're ever spinning this and it goes to bulb, that's what it means. But, and I'm gonna put it close. So this is 2.5 seconds. Right, so you heard how long that shutter was open, which means if I had my lightsaber and I was running around and moving it for 2.5 seconds, it would capture all of the light as that light was traveling. You'd be able to capture it in the camera, okay? If I turned it even more, 2.5 might be kind of short for this, because even this picture behind me, you can see all of those movements of the light, which maybe, I'm gonna leave that open for 8 seconds. Just focusing, shutter, still open, I'm still capturing light, and then the picture finished. And then when you see it on the back, if I was to show that image, and I can guess right now, that will be pure white. Right, there it is right there. It's pure white. Because I was taking a picture of a lit classroom for 8 seconds. The sensor was just getting bathed in light, and it's just gonna be pure white. That's why for this, and you can kind of see in the pictures that are on the hub and the picture behind me, it has to be taken at night, because you're gonna be leaving your shutter speed, or the shutter, open for multiple seconds, so you don't want a lot of ambient light, right? This classroom I'm in right now is lit. So if I was to take a picture for 8 seconds, there's just way too much light coming into the camera. You're gonna wanna do these at night. You will need something that emits light. And actually, hold on a second, I'm gonna turn my lights off. That makes this look a little bit better, right? So if I was gonna take a picture right now, maybe I'm gonna take it for 2 seconds. I'm gonna move this across, move it up, and move it aside. And then after that 2 seconds, you would have an image that shows the entire streak, and you might not be in the picture, all right? If we go to the picture on the hub at the very bottom, you will see an image of a person inside of a spiraling light. And the reason you don't see it is because afterwards, I moved. And as I moved out, the camera was able to capture the background behind me. So So that's kind of a cool one to see. It's kind of almost like there's a ghost moving this light, because like you can see now I'm not being lit up by this light when it's super close to me as I move it away. So the camera's only gonna capture the light of whatever source you're using. It could be a flashlight, could be your phone. I have even a flashlight that kind of has a little part on the end that lights up, which is actually what I use to make these pictures. I did not use this cool funky wand, which I bought afterwards because I thought it was cool. Maybe have a lightsaber, right? If you have a Star Wars, which is kind of what this is, a Star Wars lightsaber, you could use that to do your light painting. So, to do this, has to be at night, has to have some kind, it could be a DSLR camera, which is easier, or if you're a person doing it on a phone, I do give a recommendation of an app. It's a free app, so you know free apps aren't usually the best, but I don't want to have anybody have to pay for an app that will do this feature. But apps will do it where it'll take your camera and it'll increase the shutter speed, even though it doesn't really have a shutter, but the digital shutter, it will increase the digital shutter and allow the image to be captured a little bit longer. So if you do have a phone, it is possible. This one is a little bit easier because you can just quickly change the shutter speed and take the picture. And then find some kind of a light source to move around the image. And you will have to play with, this one it's not easy. The first image, odds are it won't work out. Either the shutter speed will be too short, and then you'll be like, oh, I didn't actually finish moving this around. So you'll have to retake the picture and increase the shutter speed. But I want you to send me the attempts, right? That's the creative process. You trying out different shutter speeds to see which one is gonna work out the best. So you're gonna try with the shutter speed. Odds are you're gonna have to mess around with that a little bit. Then you're going to move this around, and right, if I move it too fast, you might be like, I don't like the way the image works. So then you might try moving it slower and giving the camera more time to capture the light. And then you might find, ooh, that's what I actually like. So then you might, once again, we've changed the shutter speed. Now we're changing the speed at which you move the light. That will create it. And you might, maybe have a brother or sister or family members that are willing to come out with their phones. Well, you might have multiple people moving around the image, trying to capture different color tones, right? If you just say you went on Google and you typed in red background, well, all of a sudden on your phone, you'd have a red light. If somebody else typed in green, you could have a green light. You could almost trace a tree, right? You could literally draw stuff, which is fun when you look through the content. You see people purposefully trying to make different shapes. The very first thing on the hub is somebody made themselves have Batman wings, right? And they were standing in the middle. So light painting, super fun activity to do because you can be super creative with how you manipulate light. And this activity will really help you understand photography, because photography is literally you capturing light. And in this experiment, we are definitely capturing just light. We're seeing how a camera, based on shutter speed, will capture light in an image. So, good luck this week. Oh, let me even say, if for whatever reason you can't do this image at all, so you don't have a DSLR camera that will alter the shutter speed so that you can take a long exposure, and say for whatever reason your phone will not allow you to manipulate the shutter speed because you can't get an app that will increase the shutter speed to take a longer image, I want you to, and you'll see examples on there, research someone that does light painting, because there's all kind of photographers that specialize in light painting. So you're gonna do a little bit of a research paper on people that do light painting. And then at some point in your high school career, you'll probably have a family member or a friend, or the school will let you borrow a DSLR, and when you get your hands on one, you're gonna try to change that shutter speed and capture fun light painting images. Super fun. You could be very creative. The creativity is endless with light painting, and if you were to Google, and I might do it right now at the exact same time, I'm going to Google light painting photography, and if you click on images, you will get an endless supply of very cool images about light painting. All right, so nice job on your portraits, your landscapes, your jump photography. This week we're going the complete opposite. We're doing long shutter speed, and you're gonna try to capture some cool light painting images. All right, look forward to it. Good luck. Don't get frustrated with this one, because this one can be a little bit tricky in the sense that you're really altering the shutter speed, you're taking pictures at night, and you gotta have some kind of a light source. All right, good luck guys, have fun with it this week, and I look forward to seeing your pictures. Later guys.